just a short break. We'll continue in just a couple of minutes.
Right. I don't know what you're going to do without the clipper. Huh? No, it's a different one. This one, it's not for clicking. Yeah. Okay, where is everybody? Okay, ladies and gentlemen, please take your seat for panel 2. So I'd like to invite the speakers, Mr. Boštjan Oblak, co-founder of Aquinity8, Slovenia, Silvia Stefanuca-Serban, Beverage and architect and experienced curator from Romania. Peter Sevic will not be with us today. Unfortunately, he is not attending today. Mr. Danijel Galjot, food and beverage manager, hotel Triglav Bled, food and water pairing Slovenia. And Mr. Haneul Kim, vice president of Korean International Sommelier Association and European Water Sommelier Association, South Korea. And Mr. John Zhu, founder of Purelogica Academy, master water, wine, tea sommelier from China. So we're now moving into the next panel, where Aquinity8 and the water standards. So in the previous session, we explored water through health, well-being, and longevity. The next discussion takes us to places where many people encounter water every day as guests, hotels, restaurants, cafes, spas, bars, and tourism destinations. Water is one of the most used ingredients in hospitality, but often one of the least understood. So hopefully this panel today will give you some really deep insights into where water really does fit in these sectors. So, Boštjan, could start with you, please, sir.
Good morning, everyone. Let me start with small clarification. I'm not a gastronomy expert. I won't tell chefs how to cook, bartender how to make cocktails, or owners how to run their businesses. What I can speak about is water and standards. Because standards protect quality when environment is complex and the business pressure is high. And we all know that in hospitality, pressure is always high. And in this reality, even good intentions can become inconsistent. Quality can become a marketing word, and instead of being a measurable truth. I believe that everything starts with water. Water is mostly used, and yet most undervalued ingredient in hospitality. We use it for everything. It becomes ice, it becomes tea, coffee, use it for cooking, steaming, boiling, washing. It touches every part of guest experience. Yet it is still treated as a background. At Aquinity8, we are changing this. We are giving water the respect, the visibility, and the value it deserves. Not only because it touches every aspect of guest experience, but also because the water is life. And if something is essential to life, it should not be treated as ordinary. In today's world, this is especially important because in many parts of the world, water is not something that people can take for granted. There are regions with shortage, pure infrastructure. In these communities, water is not a detail of hospitality, it's a daily challenge. And by giving water more importance in restaurants and hotels, we are sending out a vital message. Water matters. It should be protected and cherished. We are here in Bled, nice surrounding, nice nature, and we automatically think, wow, everything is clean here. Well, I hope it is because I live here. But unfortunately, truth is a bit different all around the world. We see nice nature, and we need to help to keep it like that. Today, many restaurants and hotels are already trying to do the right thing. They promote water, they install filtration systems, they try to offer something different. Their intention is generally good, but without a verified framework, sometimes guests get a false sense of assurance. Now, what we have found is that many of those venues, restaurants, hotels come to us at Aquinity8 because they realize they don't have the experience, the technical resources, and also the global connections to do it on their own. And when we talk about bottled water, there is also a problem of perception. We have a lot of bottled water today that are marketed as premium waters, but the word premium is often self-proclaimed, driven by storytelling, packaging, and in fact, it's nothing more than that. And this is one of the main reasons why we created the Aquinity standard. Now, Aquinity standard is building a quality ecosystem through 3 pillars. First, we certify water. We don't just look for labels, we look for substance. Our primary responsibility is to identify clean, safe water. Now, one would think or hope that if something is in store, that's it. That's safe and good enough for us to buy it, to drink it. And this is why regulations are for. Unfortunately, if you were here during the last panel, you heard a lot about the contaminations and everything. So we have developed a standard that goes beyond existing regulations. We have checked water regulations for over 100 countries. We checked them, we combined them, we did the best practice and make regulations more strict. Because regulation defined minimum, we define what's acceptable. And that's a huge difference here. And we're not looking only for what is regulated today. We also testing for emerging contaminants, and we also look at the environment when the bottling facility is. We're not here now to discuss all this because we could talk for hours. But the fact is that legislation is not keeping up. So that's why we created a standard. So we are certifying waters. Number 2, we are certifying venues, hotels, restaurants, bars. Now this doesn't mean that a hotel that is, serving certified water or that they have installed filtration system, that's it. We go much deeper. Those venues, they committed to a standard and have expertise to present, serve, and recommend water correctly from storage to glass. Usually when we order water in a restaurant, we get the question, still or sparkling? Now, when you go to the car dealership and you say, I want to buy a car, this is like they would say, okay, blue or red. So when you go to a restaurant that has Aquinity seal of approval, you will not get the question still or sparkling. They will explain you what kind of water they have. Of course, at the end, we'll eventually also get to the still or sparkling, but before that, you will get more information. I hope that you all had a chance to test some of the waters outside and that you realize that water, it's different. Try one, try the next one. Even if you don't know a lot about the waters, you still feel the difference. And then, of course, it's education. In cooperation with European Water Sommelier Association and other organizations around the world, we are trying to educate not just restaurants, hotels, but even further. We try to provide a bridge between a product and a culture. Now, this education is our greatest opportunity because a restaurant is more than just a place where we eat. It's a place we learn habits. If you present water with respect and with all the information, we teach people, especially children, that water matters. In a world where children are constantly surrounded by sweet drinks, artificial flavors, and aggressive marketing, this matters even more. Because habits are not built only by education, they are built by experience and, of course, by example. We're not talking about just replacing one drink for another. It's about education, health, and building a culture where clean, safe drinking water is truly appreciated. I'm saying this, and still we are flushing the toilet with drinking water. But again, another topic. We are here not to criticize the industry, we are here to support it by turning good intentions into trusted standard. Because we want people to respect water and make it visible. Perhaps for end, let me close with this, that the quality of the water that you serve in your restaurant tells more about your restaurant than you may think. You know how they say, how you do one thing is how you do everything. Thanks.
No presentation. I've got loads of questions for you. I found this absolutely fascinating. So, I've seen it. I've seen the Aquinity8 symbol while at the restaurants here and just in the foyer as well. So, how can a guest identify the Aquinity8 certified water?
Once we certify the water, there are several markings on the water.
Yep.
I have a sample here. Let me just pass this. I have a sample here. Each water that is certified gets a seal of approval that is on the bottle. I'm sure that you don't see from there, but we can check later. Also had several symbols that categorize water and the QR code. If you scan this QR code, you will not get any marketing material. You will get more information about the water itself. So this is the most important indication, but of course we are also working on different materials, applications, websites where those informations will be available so that the guest can see which brands are certified. And
okay, so with this additional testing of water, how do you use this then to address the sustainability concerns around bottled waters, shipping, but then also the additional testing that you're doing? Does this give you additional data of what's happening around the environment? Where does this lead?
Testing, this is not just analyzing the water. We do much more here. So we, of course, the basic thing is to see if the water is okay. We also look at the glass, what kind of material is used for glass, for caps, for labels. We also check the environment where the bottling facilities are located, the warehousing, the transportation. We check everything. When it comes to sustainability, I guess you mean well, the transportation of the bottled water is, of course, has impact on the environment. I guess the question is...
Well, the question also is, with these additional testings that you're doing for the emerging contaminants, does that data then help understand sources?
Yeah.
What have you learned from this?
Yeah. Well, before we start with the analysis, we also gather information about the industry around the source. So this already presents some information, and perhaps we do some additional testing. When we're talking about emerging contaminants, the biggest challenge that we have is to find the laboratories that is actually capable of doing the analysis that we want. And this is a huge problem, and I hope that this will change. And since we are trying to test for the contaminants that are not yet well known, those tests are very expensive. I hope that regulations will change, and once the regulation changes, of course, there will be more tests, and pricing will go down.
Brilliant. Yeah. And then just last question from me. With this standard, Aquinity8 is growing. What is the future, and what could you see yourself in 6 months, 1 year, 2 years?
Do we have this time?
Yeah, you've got a minute to answer.
Well, at the moment we are overwhelmed with all the requests for water certification, for event certification. By the way, I mentioned how a guest can identify the water that was certified. Maybe we have a chance to also mention the venues, the restaurants. When you enter the restaurant, in the front of the building there will be Aquinity seal of approval. This means that this restaurant, this hotel, has been certified. And we are already receiving questions. Can you tell me, where can I find this water? Which hotel has this water? So that's why we also prepared an application. It's not yet functional, but I can show you an example of Bled. Here you have an example of 4 venues at Bled when you could get Aquinity8 certified water. One important detail is that you see that only one has also certification. So this, I'm happy to say that after almost 2 years, we awarded the first restaurant in Bled with the seal of approval. This is not just, a short conversation and, okay, you have this water, now here's a certificate. There was a lot of mystery guests checking how the staff is reacting, what are the answers, how is the water is served, and everything. It was really exhausting for all of us. And one thing that's important, but it's not the topic here, is we started with water because water is the base. And once the owners realize how important is water, the whole mentality of the restaurant changed, because they also start to think about other ingredients that they use. Sustainability, there's a lot of questions about bottled water. It's heavy and transportation is expensive and has huge impact on the environment. Of course, everything has impact on the environment, even us traveling here. Now, if we want water to be treated as it should be, we need to make some changes. And what we see is that restaurants are starting to have 1, 3, 4 different waters. We have restaurants that want to have all the waters that is certified, but this, of course, through time will mean that they will have to have several hundred bottles of different water. One thing that we have to have in mind is that we also created the logistics infrastructure where we, in a single shipment, deliver 5 different brands. While if this is, if every brand is shipped individual, this has much more impact on the environment. This is one thing, and another thing is unfortunately, I cannot go into details, but we are working with a completely different logistic service, especially for long distances that will really be cheaper and with minimum impact on the environment. And hopefully, if not before the next year, we will be able to present it.
Thank you, Boštjan. You're definitely really setting the bar. From what I can see from this, it's really about from source to table, full transparency, and consumers are actually identifying a high quality water that has been tested, but then also the environmental elements of understanding the source and what's actually emerging from the source as well. So with this high level standard, I'm going to move over to Silvia to get the real life experiences of what can be curated from your experiences with your guests in Romania and further afield. I believe you have a presentation.
Yes, I do, but a bit at the end until we get to coffee.
Yeah, of course.
Well, as Boštjan said at the beginning, everything starts with water, and I think most of the meals actually start with and end with water. You drink water in the beginning and then you end with it. No matter what food you're having, no matter what wine you're having, you're actually starting and ending with water. So I think that is very important to have as an experience, as a curated experience from the beginning to the end. And it's also a part of the gastronomic identity of every restaurant. We're trying in our business to have water as an experience, not only as you enter the restaurant and have that free water that we are obliged to have by law, also the water that you have in your room to be a certain type of water than the water we have in the water menu. But we also have experiences like floating therapy, where you have this Epsom salt in a pool and you just float like a baby in the womb, and you get all that fully experience of water being not only a solvent or a palate cleanser, but also the kind of therapy that you need from the beginning to the end of your journey in a hotel and restaurant. Obviously, we do like pairings and hydration master classes. We actually have the opportunity we paired with MasterCard, and they are sending people to our hotel to enjoy the hydration experience and everything, and there are packages for that. And yeah, we're getting water to be a fully fledged experience.
Fantastic.
And it's also to the point that I like to see water as a gastro diplomacy element, which is obviously understated in most experiences. And I like to go, for example, when I'm traveling, to go to supermarkets, local supermarkets, and see how the water is presented in the aisle, for example. You'll find in some cities that they're just piling boxes of water. In other, they have water aisles, and waters are put, I don't know, national, international, and they're very, very well explained. Brilliant. So that's why, for example, it's a funny story. My husband is a chef. So he was invited just last week to do a four-hands dinner at a restaurant. And because I'm also a wine sommelier, I was invited to do the pairing and the wine pairing. It wasn't room for me to get the water in the menu, so I just left it with the wine, and I had to do like this front of the house stuff to present a bit the wine. But there was a table, and they said, no, we don't want the wine pairing because we are not alcohol drinkers. And since I obviously have water in the trunk of my car wherever I go, I said, yeah, and I can do a water pairing for you guys. Well, what? Water pairing? And I said, like, yes, of course, let's do it. And it turns out they weren't working, but they were representative of a big media outlet in Romania. And the dinner got more coverage because of the water pairing than because of the food, which was amazing, by the way, but it got coverage only for the water pairing. And I think that it's about the experience, but it's also about the education that we need to place. And I think the Aquinity Seal is also doing something like that, the education that you have to understand and to be able to identify what is good for you and what do you have to learn from water.
I think you've just summarized it up beautifully, and that was exactly my question there. So referencing a global standard, high-level standard, for consumers to understand and educate as well. And just a quick question, from your experiences offering this level of experience, education, but then allowing your guests to tune in to the water, could you summarize what the reactions are?
Their reactions are fantastic. I mean, even when they know where they should be expecting, for example, if they book such a dinner, or it is just, I don't know, something that is included in a package and they do not know what to expect, the reactions are fantastic. And it's also a very good reaction also from the professional people. Because I was invited last year, and that's a bit the slides that I have, to the Slow Coffee Festival in Bucharest. And I was preaching to the barista and the coffee industry people who actually use water to brew their coffee, which is 98% water, almost 99% water. And they were always afraid of the natural mineral water because it won't be extracting enough of the coffee in order to have a good taste and a good profile. And I think education has to go both ways, also to the consumer, but also to the professionals that are actually using water in their cooking, in their extraction coffee. And
could you give us an example of this with the
yes,
presentation, please?
So this is the first part of the, it was actually two-part invitation. This was for the presentation of water and coffee. So on the first column you have 5 Romanian mineral natural brands of water. And this is basically what the notes had for extraction. I went for a AeroPress because the Slow Coffee Festival has the national AeroPress competition. And I went also for the cold brew extraction because it puts beans in the water a bit more longer, so I could actually explain what the notes were. And this is basically what the notes of the tasting of the coffee with those waters, with those characteristics, actually had. Here is my recommendation, what is good for, because, for example, one of the waters, because it had a really high TDS for coffee, and everybody was so scared of this water, it was actually a very good option for a latte cold brew, which is amazing. And for the last column, I had like a pairing with the water that was used for brewing. And it was different. The notes that you could feel after drinking the coffee and then drinking the same water that was used for brewing was totally different, which is amazing and very interesting. And the second part of the presentation was at a roastery booth where we did experiments with 3 of the waters, also for the AeroPress, but with the classical brewing method. And people coming to the booth were extremely, extremely amazed by the differences in tastes in the different water that was used for brewing. And because of these experiments, we are actually trying and probably succeeding in a very short period of time to introduce in specialty coffee shops a flight of tasting, like having your coffee brewed with filtered water, then with natural mineral water with a very low TDS, and with a higher one. So people can actually experience in specialty coffee shops how the water affects the taste and how the extraction is totally different from one to another.
Thank you. I think this is absolutely fascinating. I'm sure you all agree a good cup of coffee in the morning gets you going.
Exactly.
And I think the focus on the water that you brew the coffee with and some of the tasting notes that you had there. And that's what we all look for from these specialty coffees.
Exactly.
So in summary, getting the wrong type of water with the brew just ruins the coffee.
Yeah, it's all chemistry. I mean, it's not something that we as water sommeliers invented. It's all in the chemistry, and it's all in the minerals that actually get attached to the acids in the coffee. So, but it's also a work that has to be done by the bottling companies, because during the presentation I got this question from a specialty coffee chain owner, and he said, okay, amazing presentation, now I get it, but how can I use natural mineral water in my business effectively and efficiently. Otherwise, I will go bankrupt if I just buy bottles of 0.75. So I think that has to go both ways. The bottling industry has to come up with ideas and solutions for their product to be used professionally, but in a cost-effective way.
Fantastic. Wonderful presentation. And I think tomorrow morning's coffee is going to be brewed slightly different. Fantastic.
Yeah, that's also a point. You know, you have to, I mean, probably most of us have coffee equipment at home, and we're using whatever water, and that's also a very important idea, because at the end of my presentation, people are coming, I have this V60 machine at home, what water do I use? Obviously, it's the gustibus, you can change it and find out what's good for you, but it's also depending on the type of coffee, the type of acidity. Is it Ethiopia, Colombia, what is it? So you have to change it.
Thank you for that. So we're going to move to Haneul Kim from South Korea. And Haneul, please give us your experiences of the water service, the standards that you are now introducing into Korea, and the feedback that you've been having from the amazing work that you've been doing across the food and beverage sector. Over to you.
Yeah. Can I get maybe this? Yes, ashamed. Yeah. Good morning. My name is Haneul Kim from South Korea. I wanna share my view on about the gastronomy water, which is I believe the gastronomy water is above the beyond the premium water. I think the gastronomy water is the most valuable to make the moment. I will I believe gastronomy water represents the highest value of the premium water. So I will also share how applied this idea through the Aquinity8 hospitality program together in Korea. I often explain premium water through this value pyramid. At the bottom is drinking water, which focus on hydration. Next is quality water, which focus on safety and production standard. Above that is differentiated water, which we think the premium water, the water source, minerals, and uniqueness become important. At the top is gastronomy water. On the dining table with food, water becoming the part of hospitality, it can be part of the customer's experience. Yeah. Why gastronomy water? Because this is where water creates its highest value. Bottle of water can be sold in the supermarket. It can be also sold in cafe, but its value becomes much greater when it is served in a fine dining restaurant. There, what is not just a beverage, it supports the food, the service, and the atmosphere of the fine dining. When all these elements work together, guests receive the complete experience about the whole service together, and they are willing to pay for that experience. For me, this is the potential of premium water, the next step. And this is the Jirisan 1915 is the only and the first, the best, the Aquinity8 program, Aquinity8 certificates, and then I used this water, and then I applied Aquinity8 hospitality program to the restaurant. And then before launching this education seminar like campaign, I discussed with Marco about the direction and then the philosophy about the Aquinity8. And then my goal was always clear. I want to show restaurants and hotels how water can create value, not only for the guest, but also for the hospitality business. The program will build around GDSA 1915, the first and currently the only past the Aquinity8 program. And then in Asia, this was not a typical water sommelier education program. It was about hospitality and guest satisfaction, storytelling, and creating business value through the water. Next, yes. Last year, I conducted 13 seminars for 6 months in Korea. The participation include 5-star hotels, Michelin-starred restaurant, and fine dining restaurant, and luxury wine bars. The result was very great. Many venues recognized the importance of water after the training. From a restaurant perspective, this created additional revenue. From a water perspective, something more important happened. The value of the product increased instead of competing on price. Water was recognized by value. Like that. After training, the soccer, the order. After training, they ordered new GDSA 1915. Yeah, they applied after the training. Then I want to show some of the case. Do you know the Netflix original, the culinary class War is very hit by the Netflix show. Mr. Choi Hyun-suk is the most popular star chef in Korea, more than 30 years in broadcasting and many TV shows, and then the Aquinity8 hospitality program, and then maybe 10:30 night after the dinner service, and then there are many people wanted to know about the water service, and then the manager told me after training. All the employees try to sell the water to guests after training a day after. So the manager told me it was very encouraged program to them, and then the young people, like the new about it. Yep. And then next is the Sofitel Ambassador. So it's 5-star hotel and from the Accor group, and then. There are many restaurants like the Femejong, L'Escape, the Latitude 32, and catering. The employees come here, and then in Korea, no waters in minibar and 5-star hotels, but it is the first trier to enter the 5-star hotel.
Thank you, Haneul. In the interest of time, I love this example that you're giving to South Korea. We're going to move over to China just to get a perspective from China. Yeah. And then we're going to end with Daniel. I've got an interesting question for you, which will make sense. Yeah? Okay. So over to Mr. John Zhu in China, please.
Can you see me? Hello, everyone.
Greetings.
Oh, brilliant! Very good. I'm John Zhu from China. Glad to see everybody here. First of all, I just want to give a quick background, sharing some information about the recent trends of premium bottled water in China. In the past almost 18 years, I've conducted water sommelier training and education throughout almost 100 luxury hotels in China across 25 cities, and accumulated over 5,000 students and certified 500 water sommeliers. So I think it's a great achievement from my side. But at the same time, also throughout the 18 years of service, I can see a very clear trend. The trend is being previously hotels are offering luxury imported bottled water to the guests and try to upsell, promote as a luxury item. And now these days, especially the last 2 or 3 years or so, the trend has shifted from the hotels offering to the guests actually demanding high-end bottled water as a standard product or standard service offering. So this, I believe, is a very dramatic shift, and it's a big change from the China luxury bottled water perspective. And also, previously we talked about the education of water across other countries. And I've changed my strategy of just purely focused on water education to a water-based education by incorporating water, tea, coffee, and wine together in one platform, which I believe have successfully attracted much wider audience to joining the program, that including the coffee baristas, the wine sommeliers, as well as the fine dining associates working in the hotel environment. So this is something that I believe that we could try, or we could actually share with others across other countries. And the third point is that there's a very clear trend with the standardization of water products in China. So we call the China National Standard of Water. So previously, the China National Standard of Water is they're only including 2 classifications. One is purified water and one is natural water. Now, 2 years, or in the last 3 years, we actually pushed to a much deeper, in-depth classification of mineral water, natural mineral water. We actually, I've participated in the formation of natural water that is specially made or especially categorized for brewing tea. So last year, China has officially announced the new classification for tea brewing water as a specialty. And I'm continuously working on a new category for the water purely making for coffee. So we are actually working on a water for coffee and water for wine. So this type of classification, I believe, has initiated some interest across the board. So I believe this is something that we could also share with the other industries in the other countries. So yeah, this is something that a few points I want to share with the friends here today. And if you have any more questions, feel free to ask.
Yes, thank you, John. That really does beautifully link with the panel conversation that we're having, the trends of better water service, better tested water, and consumer experience. I'm going to shift the conversation now to Daniel. You are considered an expert, food and beverage expert. With this water service that you've been working with, certified, and actually implementing in your restaurant, I'm going to be very direct. Commercially, what difference have you seen with this service now being included?
First of all, For all the guests, welcome to Slovenia. Welcome in Bled. We are very glad that you are here. Water connects us all together. That's also in private life, also in the restaurant. I don't have some great picture of myself for the big screen, so but you will remember me. No worries about that. Yeah. It's like that in our restaurant. Everything actually changing with the knowledge. First knowledge with Marco. Marco came in our restaurant, prepare some good education for all the staff in our restaurant. Before was just joking, especially on me. Oh, what you do with water, you know. It's like that. And that general point of view for the whole restaurant or hospitality in Slovenia. You know, I'm a little bit more crazy. I go a little bit deep in all things that I start. So they just think that that's a one-day fly, you know, with the water. But on the end, okay, Marco came, present on very polite way what we do with water, how many different types of water we know, how we serve the water. And then actually they start thinking, oh, maybe we will have something from that knowledge. Also, it's very important that the owners of the restaurants are nearby or with the team, not only managers. And after that we start working. Also, I have also some groups which were in the past used to get only tap water. They actually have the strict rules now for the bottled water. So it goes slowly, but will go. Yeah.
Fantastic. And what would you say is the feedback from the guests experiencing this new level of service?
It's like that. For Slovenian guests, it's still problem in gas or no gas water, you know. But more we go into the guests from the countries with the problems with water,
yes,
then they really respect every water that we serve to them. If you know maybe a few words about that, that's actually very, very good feedback from the guests.
So in a way, it's helping influence guests appreciate water, learn about water, and maybe that knowledge they would take back to their countries and maybe implement some level of, if it's in the home or if they're working in the environment, to look at things a bit different. Would you say?
That's totally true. You need to know the whole stories now about the serving. All the drinks goes on non-alcohol pairings, and water is very, very, or the most important part of that non-alcohol experience. We also know that it won't take last forever. That water story in Slovenia, and we use good water for cooking. Then, and the serving bottled water is just the last step of the whole experience.
Yep. You touched on a really hot topic at the moment, and I think this is a trend that's going to remain. Low alcohol, zero alcohol. Is this, which I believe will be a permanent trend, is this something that you're seeing in your restaurants? And over to Haneul as well, if you could answer this from a South Korea perspective. And if John in China is available, if you could just give a couple of words, if this is...
We are already in that story,
yeah,
of non-alcohol pairings. Water can be one substitute for that, but generally I think the future will be in that we use quality ingredients, that we use non-plastic bottles, that we just avoid any sugar contained in every food or drink. That will be even deeper. It will go deeper, not only non-alcohol pairing, because you can also pair with some shitty stuff, you know, together with some food. But if you have on one side quality food, we know a lot about the food, but nothing about the water and high quality drinks. And if you had shitty drink on the other side, you know how we say, you cannot make a pie from the She will know. She will know.
I know exactly what you're saying. Haneul, just over to you quickly. What is the trend in South Korea in regards to water being more prominent than alcoholic beverages?
Yeah. In Korea, the same trend. We have the non-alcohol, so there are many non-alcohol wines, and then, but in Korea is very popular about cosmetic, beauty, and the diet, and there are many issues Korean have promote, and then so that's why the many the beauties wanted to show their better beauty, and then they don't want like sugars and then other the beverages including the little bit the other calories.
Yep.
So that's why the waters could be one option for them.
Yep.
And then if the waters, if the cheaper price, they don't have interested in. More better, more expensive, they have more interested in, like luxury. You know, like Gucci, like Prada, the price of the Gucci in Korea, the most expensive.
Yep.
Korean people want to feel and enjoy the better, the luxury. So that's why I focus on the gastronomy water.
Yep.
It could be like the atmosphere light, the fine dining service, the luxury table, luxury glassware, and then chefs, and then water. It makes the harmony. So for them, for the water company, my waters display higher price, and then let's go, and for the restaurant, I can make more profit.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. So we've got
Yes.
about 2 minutes left. Is there any questions from the audience about the discussions that we've been having? If you've got any thoughts or any contributions, got a couple of minutes left. Beautiful.
Thank you for amazing examples and practical advice, but what is the most efficient way you can promote, or when you see beside of man-to-man discussion, what was the most efficient promotion about the quality water, gastronomy, and fire, coffees, festivals?
I think, Silvia, if you'd like to answer this one. I think you've done a great job in promoting.
Well, besides the power of the words and the power of example, I think I'm not a very big fan of presenting yourself and everything on social media, but I think that's a fantastic job of getting to people everywhere and just explaining and being there and getting people to know, for example, even for hydration for children, how you go from diversifying babies at 6 months and what waters do you have to give them and stuff like that. I think social media is a very, very powerful tool if you know how to use it and if you use it well. So for promoting waters and water benefits and just getting the product and the knowledge out there, social media is one of the very powerful tools.
Fantastic. Thank you for the summary. So thank you to all the panelists, and I believe this discussion shows that water is not just a neutral background in the ingredient. It influences taste, extraction, mouthfeel, pairing, sustainability, the storytelling of the geology of where water is sourced from, and the way the guests can experience this. So the opportunity I see with Aquinity8 is not to make water complicated, it's to make it visible, respected, and intelligently managed, and knowing what's in your water for your health and well-being. So in summary, I think if food and coffee, tea and wine can carry standards and respect and expertise, I think water should not remain like the anonymous ingredient. It should be at the forefront of everyone's minds, and it's life. So start with water and then adapt around your experiences with this. So thank you to the panelists. This was really, really informative. Thank you. Yeah. So we're taking a coffee break for half an hour. Please return at 11:30, and we've got an amazing water tasting experience outside where our colleagues will be evaluating water. Very similar to whiskey, very similar to wine, but this is to water. So please do ask questions, and you may learn something that you could implement and take home back to your families. Thank you.